Hi, we're looking at the Yamaha TG77 again, and I wanted to talk some more about wave shaping because there is an important parameter that I forgot to mention in my last video. So let's start by making wave shaping sound again. This is just an initialized patch. To get wave shaping we want 0 Hz on the carrier. And then we hear nothing unless we have a modulator. And let's make this a little less loud because otherwise it gets a bit biting to my ears. Okay, so that's a basic wave shaping sound. To hear more of what's going on, let's put an envelope on it. Operator 2, yes, that's the modulator. Let's go all the way down to 0 and maybe rate 30. And I would like it to not cut out, so I'll put a release rate on there too. And now it still cuts out because oscillator 1 is stopping, and one thing we can do about that is to just make its release rate a lot slower. Just 0. Okay, so now we hear a bit more of the timbral shift as we drive the wave shaper at different levels. So what I wanted to show is the initial phase setting. So the DX7 only has this phase sync option, but here on the TG77 and the related models you can set the initial phase, and this doesn't really, often you don't hear what this does, so it took me a long time to figure out what this is even useful for, but when you're doing wave shaping you definitely hear that it can do something. So what is this parameter? This is a shift of the, this is the starting point in the cycle of the oscillator we're looking at. And because this oscillator is at 0 Hz, the starting point is the level, it determines the level it will stay at. And you would, so this is a sine wave, so you would normally say this is a 360-degree range until it repeats. But this machine uses numbers from 0 to 127. So 128 on the screen means 360 degrees. 64 on the screen means 180 degrees. 32 means 90 degrees, etc. So if we listen to 64, then it sounds the same for this particular sound. So it seems to repeat there. Here at 32 it's clearly different. And it seems to be symmetric around 32 for this sound. So if I would add 8 to this, we get this, and if I would subtract 8 from 32 we get 24. I don't hear a difference. So it seems to be starting somewhere at 0 and then it changes up to 32. And then as you go beyond 32, it changes back to what it was at 0. So the interesting variations are just in the range 0 to 32. But yeah, really my main message is to play with this number if you're doing wave shaping. But this thing where the interesting values are in the range 0 to 32. It's not always like that. You need to experiment, because if we change something about the sound, this the range of values changes. For instance, if we put feedback on this, then we need to set this. Okay, that was a bit much. Now we have feedback, and let's see what happens when we move the initial phase around. So now 64 sounds different from 0. And I played around with this before a little bit already, and so it seems the changes happen in the range 0 to 64, and then once you go past 64 you get the same sounds again. So here's 64. If we go 8 steps down to 56, we get this. If we go 8 steps ahead, we get the same thing. So now it's the range 0 to 64. But this is really cool because now you have a whole bunch of new sounds to play with. And I also found that it's interesting to listen to them in different octaves. It's still a square wave. It's almost like the envelope is different. But it's, yeah, it's just more sounds. I think it's so cool. So all that stuff is in there if you play with this initial phase, which does something if you have a 0 Hertz oscillator. That was the big lesson for me, because I tried changing this number and nothing happened so many times. So now I know, and now you know. Thanks for watching.